Alright, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, Welcome. I can see there's one lucky viewer in the stream already. Welcome, guys. Let us know if you guys have any sound issues there. Say something, Scott.
Hello.
Andreas.
Hey you.
Cool, cool. Alright, well let's get the show underway. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Dicebearers monthly painting event, October edition. And this time we've got myself again, Eric, got Scott, the Dwarf Lord, and we've got a special guest, Andreas. Say hello, Andreas.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah. We've got Andrew in the chat. Hello, Andrew. Um, yeah, well, we just wanted to have another member of the community come in and share some of the thoughts and sharing some of the love for the hobby here. And just like last month, we've got another round of incredible hobby to look at. Um, Without further ado, let's get into it, guys. What do you reckon?
Yeah, man, sounds good. Very keen.
Hi, Andrew.
All right, we're going into our first entry here by Nick. Got an AMA on foot. Um, I'm gonna throw to Scott here. Let's start. Let's kick us off. Kick us off, Scott. What do you think?
Oh, cool. I really like it because it's the original color scheme. One of the things that really stood out to me was actually I can't tell if it's brass or if it's bronze or it's just tarnished mail, but just the change of tone there on the chainmail from the scale mail. Cool. Takes it to another level. Helps blend it in from the silver to the red as well, which is nice. Like I see it and I'm like, excellent. I also like the eyes. Eyes are well done. That's always tricky. He doesn't look cross-eyed from what I can tell on the photos. So top job. I think, yeah, looks great. Like nice red, nice and clean. Very nice thin coats. Like you can tell, it's just well executed. Top job.
Nice. Yeah. Look. I really like how he's gone for the helmeted look. With the shield out, it's very reminiscent of his battle or moments when on the Pelennor, where he's fighting on foot, where all the horses are dead. So he's got that sort of thematic feel. It's like in a battle stance. So he's chosen a really sort of dynamic pose to go with AMA, while a lot of other people may have chosen to go with the unhelmeted to show off like the bare face. So very cool. And as you said, he's gone for the classic red. Very nice. And yeah, the variation in metals is also really cool to see. What do you think, Andres?
Yeah, no, this is a really fantastic rendition of Elmer. For me, the second I look at this, I just really gawk at how smooth and clean all the color transitions are. You don't normally see that kind of transition. It looks like a lot of time and care's gone into it. And no, the eyes, those are probably one of the best pairs of eyes I've definitely seen on a model where the helmet slit's not so large. It's actually quite phenomenal work. It looks like a lot of time and dedication's gone into it. I'm particularly fond actually of the blue leather for the boots and underneath the armor. It's really subtle, but it works quite nicely against the red. So I'm quite fond of it. Overall, really excellent job.
There is one more thing there that I'd like to point out as well, actually, along those lines is often you see the red armor being completely red, but you look a little deeper past the red, it's actually overlaid on the top of steel. So you can see in between all the filigree there is actually the steel underneath it. So often you'll see people do just the whole plate red, but I think it's nice and it kind of looks really pretty. Like you see there's a little bit more there, a little bit of intrigue, it makes the I guess the filigree and the scroll work stand out a bit more, which is cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's I can appreciate that. I can tell you from experience that takes a lot of time on this model, and it pays off. It looks nice.
Yeah, nice catch with the blue leather there. It's a strong contrast, but still very subtle, so it doesn't scream blue. But if you look closely, it's really nice and subtle. Very cool, and I like the base. So it's got nice variations of tufts, well executed rims as well. Awesome. All right, let's move to our next entry here. We've got a dwarf, the first dwarf for the tonight. We've got Dane Ironfoot on foot. Now let's throw to Andreas. How do we feel about this one?
At first, when I was loading up this image, I was really, really confused by the backdrop, but also pleasantly surprised that we've got some Fallout featuring in our Middle Earth painting comp this month. But the MIDI itself, it's phenomenal. It's got some really, really crisp non-metallic metal going on, especially on the actual hammer itself. And I'm really drawn to the way the red's fading out on the weapon. It's just really smooth once again. Like the last two paint jobs are phenomenal. I'm quite fond of the cloak. I think the work on that's very crisp and it just blends nicely, but doesn't blend into the beard, which I find a lot of the time can be an issue when you're painting a cloak so close to the beard. But this time it just pleasantly contrasts, but doesn't look too glaring. The base, oh, that helmet on the base, that is, yeah, that's special. That's a nice extra little touch that maybe something small, but it goes a long way. So overall, fantastic. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it certainly made me do a double take when I saw it. I'm like, is this my Dane? Because my color scheme is very similar. And I was like, wow, cool. Because also dwarves, like instant stamp of approval. Very much my eyes drawn to the hammerhead there. That is so well done. I really like it. I can't tell if it's metal or if it's gem work. It just, but that's what you kind of want. You want that, like, let me look at that more and some more because it's nice and smooth. You just keep looking at it. You're like, whoa, is it polished? Is it like it looks like a material surface that you would expect, on the King of the Dwarfs hammers, which is sick. Big fan of the yellow plume as well, the yellow and white on the helmet. That's not a color I've seen on Dane's helmet before, and I really rate it. I think it's really nice. Again, yeah, coming back to the cloak, like the whole color palette is very warm, and then it's offset with that nice cold base. But one thing that I can really appreciate is actually the beard. Uh, Getting a red beard surprising can be really tricky. You got to you wouldn't think about it, but you're often using a lot of like flesh tones or um, like some creams as opposed to you would expect from, I guess, like a yellow or a white. But it looks really nice. Like it stands out really well, and you can see kind of the definition and the volume that is very hard to get in the beard sometimes. Particularly if you wash it, you can end up with too much like crystallization. But it looks really great here. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Dwarf, like actually 11 out of 10. Dwarf out of 10. Dwarf out of dwarf. Excellent.
I knew I knew you're gonna like this one. Yeah, look, Dane's done really well. It's a great model and it's been well executed and well loved here. The non-metallic is arguably like just really good. Like he's got really strong highlights and all the blending is really smooth, so you're not getting any of the harsh edges that you sometimes see with some NMM work. He's also gone for a really subtle sort of ginger hair there. It's not overly red or overly brown. It's just that nice little in between. Gives the model and gives the character a little bit of age, but he's still got the fire in him. He's still gonna bonk people with his hammer. What really stands out to me is and makes me excited is seeing the mounted version. Like I want to see that helmet on Dane and what the rest of the army is going to look like because he's chosen for that yellow and white partitioned scheme for the helmet. I really actually want to see how that plays out with sort of the reddish brown scheme that he went from the armor here, how that plays out across the rest of the army, or whether it matches, or maybe it's just a Dane exclusive thing, or will he have it on the captains? Who knows? But I want to find out. So yeah, really great work here, Felix. Thank you for the entry.
Yeah, I'd just before we move on, I'd really love to see a whole force with that kind of yellow plume aesthetic across the board. I think it'd look phenomenal up against some bright non-metallic metal. Yeah, and one other small thing, and I don't know if I'm just being really particular, but the base has just the right amount of snow on it, which for me is just a big plus, and I love that.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you're right. Sometimes snow can be a bit overwhelming, but he's just got enough. Cool. All right, let's move on to the next one. We've got Nicholas coming in with Boromir. So I think this is the first Boromir we've had um, so far. Uh, it, we didn't really have any Boromirs last time, but Boromir is a very popular model here, and he's gone for the Fellowship of the Ring plastic version, where he's got a very dynamic pose. Very cool. I'll start off here. What stands out to me straight away is the he's gone for a really sort of strong. He's focused on painting the face and the eyes really well, and it becomes a focal point for the whole model. He's also got done the burgundy maroon color really well as well, and it's just a really solid um, paint job overall. And also, I really like the base. He's gone for a classic sort of pebble and sand style, so it really gives me this reminiscent or nostalgic feeling of classic Lord of the Rings that you see throughout the early 2000s and up to now. Like it's just yeah, it gives me good feelings and a lot of nostalgia here. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I like it. My favorite thing that immediately I see is the base, because actually finding the right like basing material can be super hard. Sometimes the scale looks wrong, sometimes it doesn't. Particularly with pebbles, you can kind of get like fish tank pebbles and they're just too round. Like these look good. I actually kind of want some because it looks that good. Um, and yeah, it is 100% like that nostalgia. Like it's that nice classic scheme. It's heroic. You see Boromir, it's like that is a movie action shot right there. I think the eyes are well done as well. Like they're always super hard. They're not wonky in that he's cross-eyed, which is nice. There's a nice line of sight there from his eyes. I also quite like the red on the robe. Like it does take me back a lot um, to just that nice rich red that some of the Games Workshop paints often offer. Like you can't kind of beat that richness. So yeah, no, I really appreciate it. I see it and I'm like, yeah, cool, because it's just a movie. Like it's just a movie action shot. So well done.
Andres?
Yeah, so the very first thing that drew me to this is I'm very fond of when people take time to actually paint the eyebrows, and they're done quite well. They're not glaring, they're not big blobs. The eyebrows and beard are very, very smooth. The eyes look phenomenal. Yeah, like Scott was saying, they definitely got a sense of direction to them. And for me, the whole thing that brings this model together is the scheme is very, very dead on what I would have imagined Boromir to be dressed in the movie. It's pretty much color. It's, I think the style is I think it's like around the watchtower. Yeah.
Oh, I think we're getting some lag here. Hello? Oh, there we go. Hello? Hello? Oh, I might be having some issues on my end here, guys.
You hear us?
Calm down.
Well, we've become robots. How are you guys? Can you guys hear me in the chat fairly well?
Yeah.
Or is...
Yep.
Oh, there we go. I think that's better. We back, Scott?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
we're back in, guys.
Power up.
Andreas, please. Sorry, yeah, I don't know what happened with
No, that's a
with that.
good. I was just commenting like the base is phenomenal. The second I look at it, it screams I'm on hand to me. Whether it be on the shoreline where they just arrive, or when they're heading up to the watchtower up top. But the color scheme here is like dead on exactly what's from the movie, which is really not that easy to achieve a lot of the time, especially when you're working with so many different gradients of blue, red, leather brown, and yeah, just fond of the beard and eyebrows overall. Face is a really good focal point. It's an excellent job all round.
Yeah. Look, thank you for the entry there, Nicholas. Let's uh, let's move on to our next one. Now, we've got a special entry this time from Adam, Big Chief Adam. He's figured out that you don't necessarily need to have a humanoid um, entry here. He's gone to do his hobby pledge this month for a terrain piece. So yeah, he's gone for the entry, and I like how he's titled his entry. It's literally all caps river, um, which I quite enjoy. Look, he's done a really good job with, as usual. You know, Adam's a bit of a terrain aficionado, and he's got like a really nice color profile with the greens and the yellows and the browns, and he's gone for a really convincing painted water effect. So um, he's opted to not use resin, which a lot of people tend to use, but the painted effect it works just as well when you're doing when you're painting it like that. So yeah, really great job. What do you think, Andres?
Yeah, no, this is arguably one of the best terrain pieces I've seen come out in quite a while. I'm really fond of the the dispersive grass. It seems to be well spread across, and you haven't got like really thick clumps and then really sparse elsewhere. The water looks phenomenal. Like if you had told me that wasn't resin, which you just did, I would. You could have convinced me that was resin. It's done very realistically. It looks like there is a current, a flow of the water, which is really hard to achieve a lot of the time. You can really get a sense of the river moving just by looking at this piece. So, I for one, I don't know if it will be used for a display board, but I'm keen to see this at an event coming up. That'd be really fantastic to see up close because it's astounding. It's beautiful.
Scott?
Yeah, look, my favorite thing on it is actually the banks. I see it, I'm like, yeah. I was just lost actually just looking at it and like daydreaming a little bit. I'm like, oh, how sick would it be to play on this? Like, this would be cool. Oh, yeah, I can see my models here, like, cool. And then I also quite like Goldberry and Tom there in the photo. But yeah, I keep looking at the banks and it just looks, I don't know how to describe it. It's like almost too real, like it definitely transports me a little bit. I see the yellow flowers, I see like the lichen around the rocks. I think it's really well executed. In particular, like yeah, I keep coming back to just the actual ramp work. It's just great. Like the flock is nice. It's not too much. There's little like riverbanks where you can see the stream would have eroded or like it's got a shoreline. The water as well, obviously very convincing because it's painted on. Um, Very cool. The only thing I don't like about it is that dwarves drown in water because dwarf armor is very heavy. So when I try to cross it, take a big penalty. So that's a minus there because you don't like dwarves clearly. But yeah, overall, I think it's excellent. I can't wait to see it in action when we get to play on it.
Yeah. Look, the other little cheeky thing is the bridge is removable, so it's got a bit of modularity, so he can kind of adapt it to different scenarios or tables. And the other thing, like you mentioned earlier, Andreas, he's made the current really convincing, but he's also kind of shown where the water is deep and where the water is shallow, which in addition have gameplay interactions as well. So not only does it look great, but it's going to play great as well. So I'm really excited to see this at an event. Yeah, great job, Adam.
Yeah, and it also doubles up as a graveyard for 9 ring wraiths, which is really awesome.
Yep. Very cool. All right, let's move on to the next one. It's your favorite again, Scott. It's another dwarf. Now,
Oh, I'm in heaven.
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Lawrence, he entered the Thrall last time, and he's coming swinging again with a different dwarf. Now, people might not recognize this model. This is actually a Ridgeback Miniatures Kickstarter model. It's like a dwarf king, but he's chosen to paint it just like a Gloin. So yeah, look, I'm gonna give you dwarf rights, dwarf first rights on this one, Scott.
Boom,
Give,
seal of approval, immediate, like stamp. There it is. I think it's sick. I see it. I'm like, yeah, like model's cool, paint job cooler. Model is very cool, but I really, really dig the axe head. I see it, I'm like, yeah, like it's got that nice like burnished look to it. Sometimes when you see like well taken care of metal, like it's been well used is the point I'm trying to illustrate, and it's got that like well used but really well kept for appearance. There, it looks a little dirty, but it's not. It's just that it's just really like well used. So, and it looks super convincing as well. Nice and shiny. I really, really, really dig the beard again. Nice, good red beard. Can see a lot of the strands there. That again is always very hard to pull off. I'm always drawn into the armor. I think it's really well executed, like the silver with just the little spot colors of red there to try and tie it all together as well with the pommel on the axe. Like it kind of pulls your eye through, as well as on the back of the tunic there, the red. Like it just gives that little bit of pop that you'd like to see on these excellent dwarves. So yeah, again, another like dwarf out of dwarf. Like well done, top dwarf.
Yep. Andreas, what do you think?
Yeah, no, Scott, he stole the words out of my mouth straight up. That axe head is gorgeous, and the non-metallic metal shine to it is just on point. It looks fantastic, and this is exactly how I would picture Gloin in his later years, just kind of glaring at an enemy across the battlefield and going, "Oi, you come over here," and just yeah, it's the perfect like stoic posture for this character, and the paint job's just excellent all around. You've got areas that pop, other parts that are really subtle. The beard, like Scott was saying, is just really well transitioned. You can tell where there's focal points on it. It's fantastic. I really like the base. I'm not. Is that base? Do we know if that's part of the model? If it's something additional added on?
I'm not 100% sure, but just by just eyeballing it, it's either itself 3D printed or part of the model. So I'm gonna go with it's part of the model.
Yeah, it
100%.
looks it's very iconic of like the very front gate area of Erebor. I could see that being quite a nice frontage for a display board there. So it's props that it's an excellent dwarf. I haven't seen it before. That's bonus points, and it's excellently executed. So wonderful job.
Yeah, look, Lauren's coming in hot again with another great dwarf entry. As you mentioned, Scott, before, the beards, he's really got that beard game going, and his throw last time was really good with the beard, and this time he's nailed it again. This he's also got a like a brighter sort of feel compared to the throw entry last time, so it's a bit of a like a younger dwarf. His equipment's still a little bit fresher, younger in comparison to Thor anyway. And the other thing I want to point out is the basing and the stonework. He's gone for there's like a slight teal sort of greeny tinge to it that really kind of offsets a lot of the red that's coming from the model and just frames the model super nicely. And yeah, just really great work, really good black lining as well, so you can see every single detail in that model. Um, yeah, really good work. Again, Lawrence, thank you very much.
Uh, yeah, I'd love to see this model under a light box. I feel like the paint job's so excellent, you can't really appreciate it fully um, without a bit more light. But I think it's still excellent.
Oh yeah. All right. Now, having seen it in dwarf, let's do one better. Double dwarf. We've got Andrew. He's
Double
Andrew B.
rainbow.
His first entry this time. He didn't enter one last time, but he's gone with two dwarf kings. Incredible, guys. I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna start off right. I'm gonna start and just
No.
say, I'm just gonna
How dare
say,
you?
I'm gonna say, my goodness, look at those beards, look at the axe. Like there's just so much to praise about this. Look, I'm gonna start with the cloth work. The cloth work, very cool. He's gone for like a really shiny look on one of the dwarves, especially the one on the right um, with the sort of gold trimming. So it's almost like maybe he's got some like mithril strands running through it. I don't know, but super cool. Uh, the eyes, the face, everything about it is just so awesome. He's also got really nice gem work on the Dwarf King there on the right hand side. If we jump to the left hand side, he's chosen the classic sort of blue and orange contrast. But just look at the if you I'm just gonna bring to attention the orange work of the beard, and then compare that to the orange cloak that he's got on the back there. It's not easy to achieve like having the same sort of color, like color palette, and have it look very different. And he's just nailed it. Like he's got this, bushy, like vibrant orange hair, and then you compare that to a sort of a worn orange cloak. It's almost like an homage to his brilliant beard and his brilliant personality. Um, he's got NMM all over the place with the a little and a lot of battle damage as well on the axes with the really minute scratches and stuff. Like there's just so much detailing, and the 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 bases also awesome. But I'll stop now because I can keep going. Right, Scott, take it away.
I was gonna say, like, you think you've covered all of it, but
No, no, not
get
even
Not
close.
even
ready.
close.
Get ready. Settle in, buckle in, boys. But let's pick up with the bases. Awesome. Just because there's lots of little bits of fun detail there. Like I see a little spiral on the left dwarf near his foot, like cool. You can see on the right dwarf, again, near his foot, something different, a bit of zigzag. You're like, oh, what's that? Like intrigue already. Eyes in, I'm in. You get drawn down. One of the things I really want to talk about here is actually the use of texture. It's really easily overlooked in a lot of models. And, if we work left to right across the pictures that we have here, starting on the left, looking at the axe, just all the scratches, that is super compelling. It's a very easy way to tell a story on a weapon that is well used. And often you see these notches tend to be quite dark, but by going with the scratches in the light, it actually gives you, again, the impression that it's really well kept, but it's serviced very well. It's kind of being used a lot, but it's really well loved, and it's quite good at hewing and chopping down people to the appropriate height of 4'8". Again, I quite like the beards. My favorite beard out of the two, if I had to pick, is actually the right hand one, because to get that dirty blonde can be super tough, like super tough. And to get it with a nice luster that you'd expect of a Dwarf King, that like beautifully perfumed and oiled beard, I see it, I'm like, yeah. And of course, all the wrinkles on the face as well, full of character. But going back to texture there, now I can't tell if it's meant to be gold or like a felt. I'm going to go with it's like a really nice felt sort of material there on the rimming of his coat. It captures what you would expect to see of velvet in real life. That like shininess catches the light, but it's nice and kind of soft, and as you would expect again of a Dwarf King. I also want to kind of touch on the two capes because they are done in two separate styles. One looks like it's nicely spun cloth, but the other one, the top one in particular, that actually with the stippling there, it very much would look like distressed leather. And I assume that's what it's meant to be, like a distressed leather cape, and it looks fantastic. Like it just does. Like I see it, I'm like, oh, sick, sig. It's the same with the shoes. Like you look a little feety on the booties. Same thing. There's just the touch of distressed leather, like well worn and well used. So yeah, 10 out of dwarf out of 10, like just straight up dwarf, all capitals. Like it's DWARF, like caps, just underline. Sick. 10 out of 10, Andrew. These are excellent. You've done me proud.
And Andreas.
Oh man, where do I start? I mean, you guys literally said it all. I mean, they're not bad. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. No, they're phenomenal. You can particularly tell I love the gemstones on the right dwarf, especially on the chainmail. It looks that you can really tell where the light's captured, but there's different gradients of blue, and I find that to really to really be a popping nice effect. And I'm really fond of the way the left dwarf, his chainmail on the skirt component, it looks as if, and it probably is, it looks as if it's each like scale is individually painted, and there's different stippling of highlighting there to make it look inconsistent, like with the weapon that's been worn but it's been well kept. The embroidery on the left dwarf is phenomenal. This everything here screams just perfection. This makes me want to go back and revisit my old school dwarves and finish painting them. And it takes a really great model to inspire someone to start a new project. These are great. I can't say anything else other than what you guys have already said, but they're phenomenal. I wish I could stare at this for hours.
Yeah, and I hope to see this sort of project come to like a bigger fruition. I want to see more. I want to see more of this. I want to know the story behind these Dwarf Kings. Like that's how awesome they are. Like I'm invested. It's like seeing a really cool like artwork for on a cover of a novel or something like that. It's or a comic book. Like this is that. Very nice. All right. Oof, let's gotta take a breath there and let's move on to our next entry. You've got Andrew C. coming back again. So last time he showed off his Gandalf, and this time he's gone for an evil orc. He's gone for Gorbag with the shield. Tell us how you feel, Andres. Tell us how you feel about this one.
Yeah, no, my at the Andrew game, this competition round is very strong. My eyes are instantly drawn to the shield straight up. That's the phenomenal red markings across it, and there's some nice contrast in between the rope and the actual core wood or leather of the shield itself that differentiates it, which is nice. You don't often see different browns and oranges that contrast well. A lot of the time they can blend in. This is done superbly. I love the head hanging down. I wish I could see it a little bit closer, but it looks like it's really well done, hanging off the shield, and you can feel the weight to it. And I know Andrew only completed this model pretty late into the comp, and that green skin, it's how I would envision Gorbag during the daytime if we got a good look at him. It's kind of sickly, but it's definitely reminiscent of that typical Mirandan orc, and it's overall a really rustic, beautiful job. Well done. Really, really good job done, Andrew. You've come a long way.
Yeah, yeah. Look, really awesome job there, Andrew. I have to say it gives me a bit of a like a almost like a Warcraft vibe. I mean, obviously Warcraft is a very derivative of Tolkien, but look, he's got the sort of really warm and contrasting oranges with the red on the shield. It almost gives me like a horde, like it almost looks like a horde symbol, but obviously it's the Eye of Sauron there, and there's the green that he's used with the skin is also very reminiscent of Warcraft. But having said that, look, it's really cool to see that he's got this sort of a dirty but not like obscuring sort of scheme to it. The metals and the cloths and the furs are all very separate, although the tones are, or the general tone of those elements are similar. You can still see the differences and see where metal is metal and cloth is cloth and where fur is fur. Really like the sword as well. He's got a bit of sort of scratching and tarnishing there as well. So yeah, really great job there, Andrew. Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, I like it a lot. Like, it can be really hard to do uh, orcs when they're a bit scrawnier. I'm not saying this particular orc's a bit scrawny, but it's more like the true scale that I'm trying to touch on there, like with their small heads and small hands, as you would expect, or more on like a heroic scale miniature. So I really like the actual green of the skin, because it doesn't quite look wrong. Like, it doesn't look wrong. It looks perfect in that it separates the skin out nice and clearly from the armor without being too garish or too bright for the palette. Like, it kind of just blends in really nicely. Like, it looks a bit ucky, like it's orky. It looks good. I'm constantly drawn back to the shield. I think the shield looks great. I really like. I can't tell precisely how the shield was done, like the actual brown backplate of the shield, but it looks fantastic. Like, it's got that kind of, either dirty wood or well-worn hide that's been daubed over. The metal, again, because it's a mix between filthy and like shiny, where it's obviously been like thrown around and used and been chopped at. So yeah, no, I really dig the shield. I'm vibing with it. I'm vibing with it a lot. Looking at the back as well, again, just the sharp edge highlights there really helps pop the armor, and it's kind of be where you would expect the shine to actually be. So it looks really nice and clean and crisp. and it helps pop it out at a distance. So yeah, no, overall excellent. Like it a lot.
Great work there, Andrew. Thanks for the submission. And all right, let's move on to our next one. Now this one's a big one. Oh, hang on, just a little small technical difficulty. Give me a sec. There we go. All right, we've got Will coming in with a bit of a diorama this time. So last time he hit us with a really awesome Carnage King, and this time he's gone for a vignette between a Urukai warrior or berserker. In this case, this is a feral Urukai on the top of the walls of Helm's Deep, and he's done it in a moonlight sort of shading there, so everything's super muted. I want to get your feeling on this, Andreas. What do you think?
Yeah, you just touched on it. I love the shading, love the tone, I love the night feel to it. I feel like the only thing that's unrealistically missing is the rain, and it would be picture perfect to the film. There's so many good uses of greys and blue in this, but also if you look closely, especially at the wall, there's a bit of brown stippled in. It's not monotone, even though it does have a strong tone influence. It's phenomenal. It's a really great piece that I probably wouldn't have thought of, and it's nice to see something so refreshing and to see Legolas looking actually quite colourful despite the tone on him, but also really domineering and taunting towards the Urukai. It captures the feel of that moment very well. You can tell very much what's going on, even if you haven't seen the film.
Yeah, the this is I can definitely see this like straight out of like a Golden Demon duel entry. Like this is really cool to watch, despite to look at, and despite having so many models on the actual base, it's just a backdrop for this stare down between and the Urukai and Legolas. He's also selected the poses really well. He's gone for a uh, fairly passive sort of pose with Legolas. Not the pose that I normally would think a lot of people would pick. A lot of people would normally go for like a shooting pose or a combat pose, but he's just gone for that at ease pose with the knife at the back, just kind of getting ready to take out this Urukai. And the Urukai on that in that case, he's gone for a sort of a he's just finished chopping through all these poor Rohan and elves, and he's looking at this next elf, and he's just getting ready to take him out. So yeah, really great work. Just going to touch on the color work as well. Just it's really hard to get um, the contrast showing through in a style like this, and he's nailed it. You can still see the rich greens of Legolas's cloak, and you can also see that the blood that he's kind of done on the base there on the stonework also is super it's very color appropriate, and it's almost like watching a scene out of the movie. So great work there, Will. Um, Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself about the color work. It's easy to look at this and think, oh, it's just a couple of colors, but there's actually a lot of color there. It's just been blended in really nicely with like the actual overall feel, if that makes sense. Like you can, if you look a little deeper, right, you look at the Urukai, you can see all the red obviously on his flesh showing through, but it's got that blue overtone. And then you start looking at the bodies on the ground. There's the green on the Rohan, and it's like, oh, there's still that blue overtone. Like it's actually super challenging to kind of separate out a lot of these colors um, when you're working with such because the blue palette's pretty strong, just in general. So to be able to define all the different pieces while keeping that blue tone throughout the whole piece can be really challenging, and I think it's really well executed here. I also want to point out a lot of the brushwork's actually quite good. So you look at like the Urukai, there's actually non-metallic work there, and you'd be forgiven for maybe missing it, but it's there because it's just that it's darker because I assume the scene's at night because given the blue tone, so you can tell that it's still metal, it's still shiny, but it's got that like nice blue hue. And what's interesting for me, right, is my brain's constantly being fooled because I keep looking at this and I think the entire photo is like that nighttime blue color when it's actually not. I keep looking at it and thinking, oh, it's a dark, like it's actually in like a dark shot. And it's like, no, actually, it's not. But I look at the vignette and I think, oh, it captures that kind of nighttime fight really well. So, yeah, really, really hard to do. Great work because it's so hard to do. I really like also the Urukai's like from the back, his metalwork there on his bum. Excellent. Like just that little piece right there. Cool. So, yeah, great job overall.
Yeah, thanks for that, Will. Looking forward to your next entry as well. Like this, you knocked it out of the park with the Carnage King, and one-upped it with a whole diorama. Damn. All right, let's move on to the next one. Another returning entrant. Anyway, we've got the Hobby Machine Andrew L. coming in with a Gothmog with shield. He's got two photos here. One with action pose, and one where it's just showcasing the model, and then one where he's unfortunately just stabbed Madrill in the belly. So yeah, let's start with you, Andreas. How do we feel?
I very much enjoy to see rust done right, and you can very much tell there's good effort that's been put into this rust, especially on the shield and the leg padding. There's a mix of brown, orange, even darker brown, and then chips of silver and other color in there, and it's just nice to see a blend there because it gives a realistic look to the metal. And I think the shield's really, really appropriate of the Castellan and Minas Morgul. So this is the kind of shield I would definitely put on Gothmog since he doesn't typically come with one. I love the addition of Madrill on the photo to the right, and you can tell with the basing, really simple, but it's picturesque of the Pelennor fields. So it just stands out as it. If you're looking at Gothmog on the battlefield, this is the way he should be painted. It's good highlighting, good rust. The face is disgusting, but in a pleasant way, if that makes sense. And even got a little bit of eyeshadow going on, which is actually quite accurate of his depiction in the film. A great thing as well is that the red doesn't clash with the strong rust. It actually stands out quite nicely, which can be hard to do when you've got some orange popping from the armor. And so overall, really fantastic job. I would love to see a whole Randon Orc army done in this kind of aesthetic. I think it'd look phenomenal.
Yeah, you nailed it on the head with the rust effects there. He's gone for browns and the oranges, but he hasn't gone overboard. He's just make sure to keep it really controlled, and he's given a really good effect across the board with the armor there. And yeah, I think my favorite part of this model is definitely the face, and especially with how the eyes are painted. They're kind of staring down. It's definitely very reminiscent of the moment where he's kind of snarling at like the enemies before him on the field or Paul Madrill. And yeah, you're right. The eyeshadow, a bit of green there, gives that sunken look, which is exactly how he looks like in the films there. And yeah, the pale flesh is almost glowing. So really, really great job there, Hobby Machine. Really great job, Scott.
Yeah, I dig the rust work. It's rust is one of those things that, as Andrea says, it's super hard to pull off well. Because often the more common type of rust that you tend to see is like the reverse, which is there's just a little bit of rust where it's like speckling or a small amount, or in parts. Whereas this is the opposite, where it's the entire thing is rusty apart from the well used areas. And that can sometimes look a bit weird, but there's like you've done a good job of capturing a lot of the raised edges as well to try and give that extra definition. It kind of makes it pop a lot. I'm with Andres as well with the red that doesn't kind of take away from the model. It's not too bright, so it fits in really nicely. The shield, yeah, I like it. I'm trying to place where it's from. I think it's Morgul Knight shield, right? I might be off there, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
you're right. It is what you'd expect from one of the Castellans of Minas Morgul. So, yeah, no, it looks great. I quite like it. I like his face as well because I think you've done a really good job around the eyes. With I don't know if I'd call it eyeshadow, but like it makes him look extra sunken, and then it also makes him look extra feral because his eyes are so wide now. Um, he looks really like a big, leering, terrifying orc, as opposed to just like a munted like flesh blob that he sometimes appears to be in the movie. So yeah, excellent job.
Yeah, great. Another great entry from Hobby Machine there, and he just mentioned in the chat that he is painting up the rest of the army as we speak. So, look, I'm looking forward to seeing this army at the next event, Andrew. Can't wait.
That's going to look excellent.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into our next entry. It's your boy Andreas. Look, I'm gonna just like last week, we had Rupert jump in to talk a little bit about his entry, but this time we've got Andreas to talk about his entry here. First thing, before we get into the model, you've gone for a objective marker this time. Very cute. I have to say, the way you've done the photos is always really nice. I don't have to resize or anything. It's just like boop boop done. Like you already showcased the best parts of your model. So thank you for that in advance. And yeah, look, let's jump to you, Andres. Let's talk about how this fits in. I'm assuming this fits in with the rest of your Army of the Dead force. Tell us a little bit about this little scene here.
Yeah, no worries. You can definitely thank all the brother and sister apps of Instagram for the photos. It's definitely not the photographer, don't worry. But yeah, look, this is definitely tying in with the Army of the Dead project I have ongoing at the moment. This month's been a little bit hectic, so once again, I decided to go with a last day entry. I don't know what's wrong with me. Please don't ask. But yeah, I wanted to do something that was a little bit different. I felt like if I did another warrior, I would feel a little bit bored. So I went for an objective and I wanted to break it up. So I decided, okay, cool. What's different that I can add some color to where the army is normally the same several tones across the board? And I decided to do a basically a rocky outcrop with some skulls on there, very reminiscent of the past of the dead. And I added a shield to it, and I thought, all right, cool, we can add a shield to it. So damaged shield looked like someone's fallen here and their body might have been dragged away. Then I decided, oh, you know, it'd be cool if the spirit of the warrior kind of rose from the spot where he fell, and he's rising near his last heirloom, his dying heirloom. And I really wanted something that would make the army pop, which is why I gave the shield some strong browns, some streaking highlights across the wood grain, and a bit of a yellowy gold rim across the edge, just to make it contrast against the rest of the objective. But the idea is that, yeah, look, adding some color and fun to the army, and to have some more what do you call it? Uh, when the models are moving through objects, I'm having a bit of a spree with that, and I thought it'd be fun to do, just a broken hilt rising from the dirt. And yeah, I'm quite enjoying this whole project. But let me know what you guys think.
Yeah, look, I've a question in two parts here. Is where's that arm from? Is it a piece of like a model that you chopped off, or is it an individual like bit on its own?
Yep. So it's actually one of the arms for a Warrior of the Dead. And what I did was it came separately, but what I did was I actually chopped up the sword a little bit to kind of be a spin-off mockery of Isildur's Narsil, the shards of Narsil. I thought that'd be a nice little touch there, considering they betrayed him.
See,
Yeah.
I'm very much with Rupert on this one. I saw it and I'm just like, this is very much like Terminator 2. Like he's in the vat melting and he puts his like thumb up as he goes down. Like it's like, we are like, I saw that. I'm like, is that your intention there as well? But now that you're like, actually the shards and us, I'm like, oh yeah, I see that too. Because at first I'm just like, yeah, the Terminator, yeah, Arnold objective, sick. But this cool too.
Look, I'll be lying if I told you there was a plan to this. The plan happened as it was happening.
Look, those are arguably the best ideas, right? It's just the natural ones. Look, I'm with everyone. It just definitely feels very. It gave me that Terminator vibe straight away, um, and it makes sense for an objective marker. It might be just the ghost of Arnie, the ghost warrior there, and your King of the Dead has to go grab him before he sinks into the stone. Yeah, look, the choice with the brown and the yellow is a really clever one to kind of give your army a little bit of, or give the scheme a lot more contrast, and it definitely really stands out. But what makes this really cool is, despite it being so sort of high contrast with this shield, the arm is still, the main focus of the entire, objective marker. You've gone for a really nice stonework as usual. Um, it's super consistent as well. So with your other scheme, that's something I struggle with sometimes, is keeping the scheme consistent. And yeah, as far as I can tell, tone-wise, everything is going to tie into everything really well. So great job, and I'm looking forward to the other couple of objective markers. Now that you've got Arnie, maybe you can consider some other, Terminator related objective
Look,
markers. Who knows?
at, at this point, I'm just gonna do a an objective for each different pop culture reference. So you've set this trend now.
Yeah,
It's gonna
look,
get wackier as it goes.
yeah, I like it. I'm
Just
waiting
do
I'm
like a
waiting for.
chest burster.
No, do like Dirty Dancing or something. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
You, you're on, Scott. Don't worry, it's happening.
All right, thank you for that, and let's move on to our next entry. We've got Jared. Jared.
Wow,
Whoa,
wow,
whoa. So
wow.
you'll first thing you'll note that I've actually included a little bit of a whip work in progress shot there, because if you haven't already can tell, he's actually sculpted the majority of this model himself, and it's Peter Jackson on the walls of Helm's Deep, or out in the field, and he's done an incredible job, not only with the paint job as usual. For those who didn't know, Jared did come runner-up last time, and look, he's coming in swinging in hard this time with a incredible custom sculpted Rohan warrior with throwing spear. Uh, yeah, look, I'm gonna throw it to you, Andreas. How do we feel? We feel good?
I feel very gracious that my entry came before this, because there's just no going back after seeing this. This is truly phenomenal, and no offense to Peter Jackson, but I think it's captured his weight perfectly. This sculpting work is really smooth, really phenomenal. You can tell a lot of time's been taken into it, but it looks bang on professional. The I love the leather work. It's got a tinge of red to it, but it still feels like brown leather. The shield, it's chipping, it's green highlighting. Everything is crisp, it's smooth. I honestly, I can't really fault the model. The face looks angry. The chainmail looks inconsistently very Rohirrim. And that spear, one thing actually really draws me to the model. That spear is it's very much got an oaky feel to the color, and it works really well. Normally, you see spears being quite dark for Rohan, and this is a really refreshing change. But it doesn't feel odd. It complements the lighter tone of the leather quite well, and the off green for the cloth is just a really good alternative choice. So there's a lot of alternative colors here, and I'm really fond of it overall. So yeah, love it. Good job, Jared.
Yeah, this model's sick. Like, I already appreciate fat models because they're kind of like dwarves, and he's got a beard, so already kind of like a dwarf. Like 8 out of 10 already on the dwarf meter. Just needs a longer beard and maybe lose like 2 feet. But in all seriousness, my favorite thing about this model, apart from his weight, is actually I'm really struggling to pick actually between the shield and the armor. I like the actual leather because I'm vibing. I'm really vibing the like edge work there, just the dotted highlights to give that texture, like the cracked dry leather, or just the nice crisp, clean green bright shield. Yeah, I'm really struggling to pick which like of those two elements my favorite. I'm probably going to lean towards probably the leather work because the belt's well done too. I see it. I'm like, oh, cool, like cool. Very much with Andreas as well on the color scheme, like the green there, very reminiscent of like rough spun kind of home colors, which you'd expect to see of like, it's like get me the armor stretcher, like you could just see it already. So yeah, no, super super sick. Super thrilled to just have the privilege to see this. Like, well done.
Yeah, I really, really love the model. Like, I already gave my little bit of spiel at the beginning here, but I'm just gonna go at it again. Look, I really like the crispy green that he's used for the shield and the crispy white. Um, and he's gone for, a yellow edge highlight on the green there. So to give it sort of a really appropriate, like color appropriate feel to it. It's not just your standards, off green or lighter green to highlight that. So it looks really nice. The olive cloth there, lots of texture work, lots of depth. Um, you guys didn't mention the face. I think the face is fantastic. There's so much sort of emotion and color to it. The eyes aren't googly or anything like that. Yeah, yeah, like really nailed it. And it's extra points for the little Easter egg for being Peter Jackson here. And I can't wait to see this as part of a bigger force, like a Helm's Deep force. You know what? Like this model to me looks like it's like, you know what? This guy deserves its own rules. Like this is how good it is. Um, you know, Jake Claire, get on it. Like this guy deserves rules. Um, okay, so let's move on to our next one. We've got Geordi returning again with some Corsairs. So last time he entered in his Amdur in a very striking color scheme, and this time, yet again, he's coming in with another very striking color scheme. He's got a couple of Arbalesters and a couple of Bosuns as well at the back. I'm going to throw to you, Scott. How do we feel about this one?
Yeah, super sick. I mean, I dig this painting style last month. I dig it again this month. It's just that I don't know how again to describe it. It's just that super vibrancy, right? Like that's awesome. You can see it striking from a distance. It's nice up close. Yeah, like again, one of the first things that said that to me is actually the base. The base is super cool. It just you can tell it's wood. Same with the shields. Like it carries that. I don't know if I was going to say like dry pine, but that's not quite the color that I, I think of when I see it. But it is that like dry timber, like well used. Like it's kind of worn smooth by how many people have walked on it. And same with the shields, like and the silver as well, like the edge trimming around the shields, like just pops out really well. I love the dashes of teal that you see from their sash or their sleeves, like here and there. Excellent, just excellent. Um, yeah, no, I really want to see this army up close and personal. To be honest, it'd be great.
Yeah, Andres?
Yeah, so this one made me think a fair bit. There's obviously the Stark highlighting is a huge standout, and it's really hard to actually get that done right. And the premise for it being you have to have really solid but smooth foundation layers underneath where the Stark highlighter is, and it's done really well here. It doesn't look like it's just one flat color over the top of a duck undercoat. It looks phenomenally smooth, but still very striking. The wood's done extremely well, and you can see there's really fine straight line work on that wood as well, which goes to show the technique is fantastic. The lighting actually that this photo was taken in really complements the paint job superbly. It's it's very well done. And like you said, the teal is just a really nice touch to make things pop. So altogether, I think cohesively this works perfectly. But even by themselves, I'd love to see them individually. They look phenomenal. I can't say I'm too fond of sorry, I can't say I'm fond enough of this kind of highlighting work because I've tried to do it before, but this is just done on a next level. It's fantastic.
Yeah, look, Geordie coming in strong again with that striking paint style. I also like how you've used one of the captains, or yeah, the Corsair captains as a bosun as well, so you've got a nice sort of variation. Look, just seeing this makes me really keen to see the rest of the force and what you've got planned. You've got the Easterlings, now you've got Corsairs. Who knows like what else you're gonna do next, right? And look, yeah, I'd really like to see this up close. The other thing is, you're right, Scott. The woodwork is really cool. I'd even like to see like how this would look on a diorama, or even on like a boat diorama, or just a boat by itself. Like you can just tell they're rolling around in their raiding boat there. So yeah, nothing more to say other than again a great entry by Geordi. Thank you very much. Let's jump into another repeat entry. Got Thomas. Last time he came in with a Goblin Town Hobgoblin captain. This time he's gone for the opposite. He's gone for a high elf warrior with shield and spear. So look, let's jump in with Andreas. What do you reckon of this one?
I think this model is really brutally awesome. You can firstly, I love the burnished sort of green gold. I think it's really well done, but the green's not overbearing. A lot of the time when you try to tint armor, it can almost kind of consume the armor, but this is really subtle. But you can still notice that the green is there, and I think that's really well done. What I truly love about this model are two main things. So the cape is actually a really nice contrast of different highlights and different colors, and you've got brown towards the bottom. It just seems smooth, and it captures the light of like a fading sun really well. So I think that complements the armor fantastically, and it's broken up nicely by the blue of the more subtle cloth below. But what really stands out to me is the front facing of the model. He looks like he's just received that charge we see at the very beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring in the prologue, where all those orcs charge into the elves' front line, and he looks like he's copped the brunt of it and just come out on top, and he feels nothing. This model is very striking, very domineering. That spear with the drooping bits of flesh and blood hanging down. This honestly, if I saw a whole army like this, I would have just assumed it was a golden demon entry as a whole unit. It's fantastic. I think it's phenomenal. Good work with the blood. It's used just sparingly enough.
Yeah, like you're definitely right. It captures a really strong emotion and feeling with the sort of battle damage that he's opted to go with, and the way he's tinted the armor gives it really kind of places it in a moment in time. Like you mentioned that, this is reminiscent of the battle outside Mount Doom, or the siege of Mount Doom. But I actually see this as like the battle of Daggerlad, where on the dead marshes, you've got the marshy grounds and that sort of thing there, and that was the toughest battle in that particular war, and you can definitely see that he's got this stoic sort of feel to the model, to kind of represent that unyielding nature of a Noldor elf. He's fought 1,000 battles, and this is just another battle, but he won't yield until evil is vanquished, and it definitely has that sort of vibe to it. Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, like I see this and I actually think magical. That's kind of what it strikes me out as, almost like that going back in time. Like if you could imagine like a movie scene where they show, well, you could, where they show off the battle, where they cut off Sauron's finger, but it's a bit further back in time than that. Like I said, and I think like first age high elf, like a real Noldor. Um, the only thing there that strikes me out as a little weird is the mud on the clothes. Like I think it's well done, but I see that cloak and it's like that beautiful green like shimmer, just as you'd expect of like the finest elven silk. Like the real craftsmanships of the high elves coming through there. Again, with all the different like just the smidges of color. Like the blood is very sparing, but it adds a bit of spot red on the gold there. The green kind of helps give it that ethereal luminescence. No, I think it's awesome. I would love to see a battle line like this because it'd be super interesting to do. It'd be super interesting to look at. It'd be just a really nice spectacle to see around you, because I think it's one of those kind of schemes that just transports you in your mind to like the bigger world already. Like you said, you kind of like start to imagine where he's fighting, what's around him, like the desperation, that sort of thing. So yeah, no, awesome, just awesome.
Yeah, great work, Thomas. Thank you for the entry yet again. And let's we're coming up to the last entry here. We've got Dicebearers' very own Alexa yet again. He's come in with Aemir. Now, without the tactical thumb this time, he's done a really good base as well as usual. He's got that really strong NMM work that he's known for, as well as the striking sort of contrast between the base and the model. Now, unlike a lot of Alexa's work that I've seen, there's not much blue going on other than from the metal itself. Alexa's known for using his sort of blue and purples, so he's gone for, and yet he's gone for a really nice sort of muted maroon red, which is very different to the first entry that we also had a AME as well. Look, I'm going to throw it to you, Andreas. How do we feel about this one?
This is actually arguably like the model I enjoy most from all of Alexa's work. I think the first thing that really pops to be, well, two things actually, is the sword work. So there's really, really nice non-metallic blending on there, and you can tell with the light shining through, but it feels like it's transitioning quite smoothly into the darker parts of the steel blade. And the golden wrist, like parts of the wrist armor and the shoulders, the actual non-metallic metal work done there is very subtle, but has waves of extreme highlighting there that comes across quite nicely. Um, a good thing that stands out is that the hair doesn't look like it's blending into those other gold components, which is quite pleasant to see. It's a bit of that dirty blonde that is actually very hard to achieve quite well. I think Alexis painting's come a long way, and this is probably a really good example of it. It's phenomenal. I can tell you that painting this Elmer is a joy, and he's taken it to the next level.
Scott?
Yeah, I really dig the silver work, the non-metallic metal. It like I know you say, oh, there's not a lot of Alexa's blue, but it's there in the silver. Like you can kind of see it. That dark blue is there in his base color for it. Um, yeah, and like again, it's very different to the original or the first AME that we saw. Um, it comes out very differently, having the silver and the red. Uh, I really dig it. I think again, talking what I've said earlier, the dirty blonde hair is super hard to pull off really well. Looks really good. Looks nice and clean. Like all the strands are there. You can see it at a distance. You can see it up close. I also like his face. I can't tell if it's a 5 o'clock shadow or if it's just the way if it's actual lighting. It looks like a 5 o'clock shadow, and that again just adds a bit more character to Amy. When this is taken, it's supposed to be at him at the end of the Pelennor, where he's been after 3 days of hard riding. So yeah, no, super awesome. Very impressed. I like it a lot. Love to see it up in person now.
Yeah, definitely. And looking forward to see the mounted version of this one as well. He's opted to go helmet off um, on this one. Arguably, this is probably my personal favorite of the AME variations that exist, with the helmet just tucked under the elbow here, and under the arm there. So look, really cool. Great job as usual, Alexa, and he did it in record time as well from memory, as usual. And with Alexa, he's a bit of a machine there when it comes to powering through painting. And yeah, thank you for the entry there, Alexa. Now that's the last entry, guys. Now you'll note that unlike last time, I haven't announced the polls yet. The polls will actually be opening tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, and there'll be 72 hours to put in your votes. So um, look out for the post there that will go out probably tonight or tomorrow morning. And yeah, get voting. And the other thing I want to mention is this month we're very lucky to not only have the uh, prize pool, stay it's still $80 for the winner and 40 for the runner-up. but we've also managed to have the support of Knights of Dice and Zop Gaming, and the both the winner and the runner-up will be receiving some cheeky vouchers to shop at their online stores as well. So really appreciate the support there, Knights of Dice, Vivek from Knights of Dice, and Lockie from Zop Gaming there. So thank you very much. And yeah, any last words there, Andreas?
Yeah, I think everyone's done a phenomenal job. I appreciate being brought on to obviously discuss all the paint jobs that come through here, and I think the community as a whole is getting really, really impressive, especially with the recent works. I think that's the one good thing that we've had in lockdown. People have had time to hone their skills, and it really shows. And I'm looking forward to seeing every single one of these on the battlefield at some point.
Scott?
Yeah, I'm super appreciative of everybody for their submissions. It's always wonderful to see so many great entries and so many great hobby. I'm always shamed by the fact that I never paint anything in a month, but that's okay. I get inspired every time. I liked how many dwarves were that there were this month. That made me very happy.
Yeah. Look, it's wink wink nudge nudge. Dwarves get a bit of a dwarf bonus with Scott there. So if you want to titillate him, get Peyton on some dwarves. Thank you very much for joining us live. And if you, for those that didn't manage to join us live, thank you for watching as well. And yeah, we'll talk soon. See you soon. And yeah, look out for those polls that will come out tomorrow. Thank you very much, guys. Signing out.